Hello and welcome. Today we're just going to do another face-off. I've got another CV that I'd like to shave with, so I thought, well, I might as well put it on film because everybody likes the CVs. It's another MK.31. It's got some beautiful natural scales. It comes to me a little bit sort of, well, beat up a little bit. The scales are absolutely beautiful. There's a few kind of marks on them, like age-related marks. But the serrations within them and everything are just lovely, man. They get me in a certain light as well, and they really sort of glint and sort of show themselves to you a bit. Excuse me hands today as well. I've been doing, especially my thumb, look, it's not dirt, it's leather dye basically. Don't tell my wife because she always tells me off. I'm meant to be wearing gloves. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of leather craft this morning and I had to dye some things. You can't get it out either. It's an oil-based dye. The scales are a little bit loose in it, but they're not as loose as some other, well, this type of natural scales. It's still got a lot of meat on the bone sort of thing. There's a little bit of home wear on it. When I say it come a bit battered to me, it's like the whole blade was nearly black. But not like a burnt black or anything. It just slowly oxidised basically. You can kind of see a little bit on the shank, if you know what I mean, like a little bit of sort of remnants of what it was. But I still like razors like this, you see, because it's patina, isn't it, basically. I've just got the blade back to some form of, well, shine. Nice it is. Comes with its own box as well. Original box. Oh dear. And I've got, do you know what? All the razors I've ever had, I don't think I've had a French one. And I have got sort of 2 or 3 French ones in the making as well, about a lot littler. This one's quite a largish frame back really. And on the face it has got some etching that says "The Radical Barber," which I think is pretty cool, at least the Radical. There's a bit of homeware on it as well, so it would have been a lot bigger when it came out of the factory. And it's got the like little wagon wheel thing and some French. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it today because it's just offensive whenever I do. And the old French, they get quite offended by us Brits anyway. It's got a few scratches on it as well. It's got quite a few scratches on it actually, even on the blade and that. I've not sanded it or anything. It's got some. Well, to me, they almost look like the manufacturer marks, really. The blade won't go in and out. You get some CVs and you get some Swedish frame backs and you can actually pull the blade out. And I think it was intended to maybe, put a new one in kind of thing. But yeah, I'm quite excited to show you. Like I said, I think I've got some, I don't know, 3 or 4 little French ones from the barber's lot I bought ages ago. I was after stones and stuff in it at 1960s. No, 1950s barber's lot I bought. Yeah, I do like my frame back. Some of them are just exceptional shavers. Like the metal seemed pretty good on it. Like not quite sort of Swedish level still, but it honed quite nice. It sat nice on the stones. Both of them have got Jane at edges. I'm just going to shave with the old Capt and Fawcett. What is it? I always get this name wrong. Scapicchio. I'm still saying that wrong. I've got a couple of Italian friends down my allotment, so I must take it down there and record them saying it, so at least I can get something bloody right with my pronunciations of our overseas cousins. It smells lovely as usual. Every time you use it, it's just quite a special soap off it. Hang on, let's just wet my face a little bit. I've got a slight bit of irritation from the last shave with CV, what is it, number 7, number 8. But it weren't the razors because it had 2 different edges on them and 2 different razors, and my whole face, it's quite rare, like flared up. Well, it didn't flare up, sorry, no. But that burning thing, and I think it was just because I didn't get shaving quick enough, basically. Oh yeah, and if I've got some funny head movements today, it's because I've got a crooked neck. I've woke up and like sometimes you wake up, oh yeah, it hurts basically. So if I do some bit rigid movements or whatever, it's because of that. Yeah, I did a bit of leather craft today. I've got a sheath that I want to make for one of my best mates. He's got an old like Bowie knife that was his old man's. It's nothing special like knife wise, just sort of your typical kind of, I'm not even sure it's actually got a make on it, but the steel's alright on it. It takes good edge and everything. And anyway, it's got like a really taut sheath. So I said to him, just give it to me, man, and I'll tighten it up and make a lovely little sheath for it, so it's a bit special every time he handles it. And yeah, he's got a son as well, so I imagine it'll make its way to him at some point as well, which is always nice. And I was just refurbing and restoring some strops really, so I've just been buying some old paddle strops like on the cheap, predominantly from eBay, just because a lot of the time I sell razors to sort of what we could maybe call newbie people starting out. You know, paddle strops are the way forward, man. They're cheap, they're flat, you can't really damage the edge on them. Well, there's less chance anyway, like, because you know it's nice and flat. So yeah, I've just been like basically buying really old tatty ones that are no good whatsoever. You know, like leather's just completely hard, and add it, strip them off, glue some new leather on it. I've used like a thin Italian calf leather that I use for like lining, well, posh stuff kind of thing, or nice stuff. And it's a lovely sort of soft calf leather. It really is nice. It's almost sort of like a bit, I don't know how you could put it, a bit fluffy is definitely not the right way of putting it, but it's nice and soft. But anyway, so it takes compound really easy as well, like, which is always, I think, a bonus when you pick a leather. I've used some like pre-dyed Burdle leather before with my strops and my paddle strops, and it's not that good because it's too slick, it's too shiny. So even the strop that I use here, in between my shaves and everything, I'm probably going to cut the middle part of that out and put it on a paddle strop and put some nice thick veg tan Burdle that ain't been dyed in the factory. Right, this is the MK.31. These are straight off my stones, and then just going through my like strop procedure off the stones. So it goes through 1, 2, 3, 4. It basically goes through five sides of a strop. And then I basically just maintain the edges on my single-sided leather strop over, like it's over here, just to the left of me, until they start tugging. And then when they start tugging, I'll put them on a pasted strop, and nearly always that gets them going again. And well, frankly, if they've got good edges, they can nearly keep going forever on sort of that routine, really. Oh God, I'm getting lava all in my tash again. Right. Yeah, it's a bit uncomfortable lifting my head up. Sorry, excuse me. Oh. What was I thinking? I can't remember. But yeah, oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so somebody asked me the other day, what's the difference between, because I was selling some like no thumb notch, sort of like the equivalent of an MK.32, and they were asking me sort of what is the differences, and you know, it's a bit subjective because they weren't all ground by the same person. They were ground to a certain spec, no doubt, but not by the same person. So, and because they were all freehand grinded, there would have been variances on every razor, even if it was one man doing them anyway. At least that's what I think. Oh, I was pleasantly surprised with that. Like, It was a bit hard of a razor to gauge on the stones, this French razor. I couldn't like a lot of the time, especially with the Swedish razors, you can really tell, especially when you start to join the bevel and create like the very apex of the bevel, when both sides are kind of coming up to join, you can really start telling if the razor is going to just perform quite well, sort of on the stones and that. And you can kind of feel it, I guess, that's probably the word. But this French razor is quite hard. It was to gauge. Yeah, it's a bit of a different experience. Like even if I compare it to like the Swedish frame-backs that I've got a lot of. Just took the whiskers off pretty close. Sorry, I'm a bit throaty today. And yeah, the difference with the MK is basically to all the other razors that Mr. Carl Victor made is predominantly the MK range. Even though you get ones with no thumb notches, you know, they're not an MK.31, but you get exactly the same sort of shape, we call it, like the pattern of the razor, without thumb notch. And I've had loads of them over the years, and they've got the same, like, you know, scales and everything really. And the only thing really different is the no thumb notch. But the more I've had, because I've had a lot of MK.31s come through me in the last few months. Like I said, I've got a keeper that's got my own scales on it, you see, so I don't try and hoard MK.31s, apart from one day I might try and make a 7-day set if I can. Is the grind on all of the MKs, and again, this is just my opinion really, and I know some people would definitely back this up. So the grind is thinner. Like this bottom part of the razor, I'll tell you, you couldn't get it no thinner. You really couldn't. It's like paper thin. Well, it's less than paper thin. I don't know why I even said that, because it's less. And it starts quite high. You know, like the thinness. There's sometimes a tiny bit of a belly, but generally sort of, well, it's an hard one because they have got bits of a belly. Like the finish point does feel like it's in the middle there, but it's not like a German belly, if you know what I mean. And again, some of them ain't, and some of them have got more of a pronounced belly. But what I've definitely started to notice, because I've had, how many MK.31s have I had over the years? God, I've got to be nearly 40, 30, definitely 30. Even in the last few years, 2 years, I've probably had 15. And I've had MK.29s, MK.30, and I've only had one MK.32, which is just an amazing razor. Yeah, and they're all just thinner. That's really the main difference. What am I doing? A bit thick with it. I think that's why I got a bit of irritation the other day as well. My lavering, you know, as much as I like doing these videos to try and get more people shaving in a more traditional kind of sustainable way, sometimes it lacks my own, because I'm trying to two things at once job here, eh? Right, it's the MK.31. And the MK series, they seriously are, I think, some of the best razors ever made. Like, if you only wanted one razor and you get an MK.31 that's got plenty of meat on it, it'll last you till you die. You know, as long as you know how to look after it. because I'm yet to have a Mr. Carl Victor razor that's ever had dodgy tempering. I think they had at least up to sort of maybe, let's say, the 60s. I think they had a very, very high quality kind of quality control. I do believe that, and I believe that with a lot of the Swedish makers. I do believe that's the one thing they tried to focus on to get that kind of like, well, reputation basically. You know, little country like Sweden competing with the might of what was then Sheffield and Solingen in Germany. You know, that was some, you know, competition really. I ain't got many like English frame backs, but I managed to snag one the other day, and I've paid a pretty penny for it. I paid too much really for it, but it's quite a big ass one. Like, it's quite. Oh, that's my neck. Sorry, excuse me. I'm struggling to get my angle, man. Yeah, it's, well, I think it might be the first Sheffield one I've found that I wanted, and it's quite wide. I remember when I first kind of like really started out and was learning about straights. I I'm coming across a few things about the French razors that are a bit hit and miss, but I never really took much credence to it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, you can't build a country like France without having good metalworks. You really can't. And they've only bought steel from Sheffield or Swedish Ignates, I think they were called. You know, they all had access to the same steels really, even if it weren't from their own lands. Oh, hang on, plug. Well, let's have a little, yeah, let's put some of this on. Let's have a bit of a feel. The CV just works marvellous, they always do, especially the MK series. And I've even noticed that one would come to me a bit battered and bruised. That shaves like any other 31 I've ever had. That one's got some gorgeous scales. I mean, if you wanted to make the scales even better, man, you just can get some, well, I always say start at like 2000 grit with natural scales like that. Probably not as close a shave as I did get from the 8 and the 7 the other day, but that was exceptionally close. But I'm impressed with the French one though. Don't feel like I'm going to get much sort of irritation from it. And I barely get irritation from the old MK.31s. Seems to mould to your face nice. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you today though. Tidy everything up, just about got enough time. Got to go and pick the little lady up. Got a family member coming around tonight for some dinner. Trying to think what I can shave with next time. What I have got in now, I've got a new razor to me in today. That's one of my keepers. I've got a J.A. Hengel's number 17, and it is just one of my best razors. I love it, and well, if you watched any of my other videos, you'll soon realise that my favourite old vintage maker is J.A. Hengel's, and they're still going today. They don't make razors, and I don't know. I've got something about them. I don't know why. I think it's even the little brand mark, the little twin thing. But anyway, every single razor I've had from them has just been brilliant. and I've had, I don't know, I must have had over 10 or 12 or something like that, and I ain't kept all of them, because some of them, you know, I've kind of bought to sell on at some point anyway. But yeah, I got a 17 and I got it for like half reasonable kind of sort of price a long time ago. So I've been after a 14 to pair with it. See, it all sucks back in, doesn't it? Out of all my soaps, that definitely seems to suck back in more. Yeah, so I've been after a 14 and oh, they go for a right old pretty penny, especially if they're, you know, especially if they're sort of like 24mm upwards and all that. But I found out quite a long time ago that I think it was like one of their employees, Mr. Hope, H-O-P-E. I'm sure he used to work for him, at least that's what I've kind of can find. And I'm not whether he was a grinder or some point starting out, but anyway, he started up his own entity in some description, but he definitely partnered with J. Hengels as well, because I've got a razor that's got Hope on one side and his little sort of insignia, and then but on the other side it still says J. Hengels. So he was definitely affiliated with him. He didn't just sort of go, right, I'm going to make my own razor now, see you later. So anyway, yeah, I found a 14 pattern Hope and I've got it for a half decent price, and I ain't kidding you, as soon as I put it on those stones and that bevel started to join, I was just like, man, this is going to be a good razor. So I got that shave ready the other day and I ain't shaved it yet, but I will do, and I will do that on film. It's one of my keepers. It's got some half decent scales, but they're cellulite. Cellulite. It's on my arse, isn't it? Celluloid. And well, frankly, if I'm going to keep the razor, or at least I think I'm going to keep it for a good while, you know, whatever, it's kind of one of my keepers. I'll take the scales off, because it'd be my worst nightmare, man, like coming back to it after a few months, because it don't matter what you cover them in, you can cover them in oil and anything, but if you start getting cell rot, that's it, it's going to eat the metal. I've had it with a French razor actually that I bought years ago, and that ate it. I won't get it because it weren't a nothing razor, but like a razor like that, and they're quite, I don't like saying the word rare, but they are quite rare, the Hope razors. Like, there's not loads of them about. You know, I don't think he manufactured them for, well, when I say that long, I mean like decades. So anyway, yeah, I'd be really gutted. So I always, basically I take them off and put my own scales on. Sometimes I keep the scales in a separate little box and I put a little tag on them, so then if I ever did want to sell it, you know, I could always say, look, I can put the original ones back on if you want. Not that anybody's ever done that. So yeah, I've got some nice acrylic that I really quite like sort of having a play with and that, and I'm gonna do some little brass liners with my little G10 red thing in the middle, like the wedge, because I like that. I like red. I'm like a magpie for red, I tell you. I went to a bushcraft shop at the weekend just to like tag along with some mates and that. Actually didn't spend a penny in there, which was amazing, but I've got so much bushcrafty kind of stuff. I've got 3 of everything, so I was just like, I don't need nothing. But yeah, so they've got a knife display, like cabinet, like great big thing. And I did it again, man. I just see these little red liners on knives and I'm like freaking magpie. But yeah, favourite colour's red. I like black and red. It's my thing. All my leathercraft stuff's red and black. Well, anyway, that's me yabbering on. Hope you've had a good day. A good day can sometimes start with a good shave, or if you get your shave in. You know, today I ain't got none of the girls in. It's lovely. Having a shave with no distractions, no squawking, as much as I love her squawking about. Yeah, it's nice. Always makes you feel a bit better as well. Right, I'll see you later. Good day. Bye bye.